Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah.
What's up, and welcome to the Workout Nerdout. I'm Julio Lopez. I'm a certified strength and conditioning specialist, a certified personal trainer, and I have my master's degree in nutrition. Today we're going to talk about 3 topics. One, kind of a warning about advertisements that portray themselves as actual articles that are found in legitimate newspapers. Finding out how you can differentiate what are the advertisements where they're obviously skewed to try to sell you something, and what are the legitimate articles that can provide you with some information, whether it's health and nutrition or supplement type of topics. Second, we're also going to talk about a woman, a 63-year-old woman named Gina Buck that had recently lost over 90 pounds, and how she claims she had lost the weight and what she suggests is the reason why she lost that weight. And finally, a new device/app that is said to help a person lose weight more effectively by tracking their glucose throughout the day. Whether the blood sugar is rising or falling, that they claim that's going to be able to help a person lose weight more effectively. I'll go into the science behind that and see if there is some truth to that or some possible benefits for a person just like you. So let's get started. I was initially looking for some articles or studies that had to do with fat burners and catch up on some of the more effective ones and which ones have been not so effective. And I came upon what I initially thought was going to be an article published by the Dallas Morning News, where it's entitled Best Fat Burning Pills, Top 5 Thermogenic Fat Burner Supplements of 2022. That title might make you think that it's a legitimate article, especially since the Dallas Morning News is a very legitimate newspaper. Actually, it's the largest newspaper in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. But when I opened up the link, I noticed that this was not an article. In the top, you can see it says branded posts. If you were to click on the "What's this?" up in the corner, it reads, "This article was paid for by an advertiser and produced by our sponsored content team. The Dallas Morning News newsroom was not involved in its creation." So what does that mean in English? That means that this is just an advertisement that's kind of tricking you into believing that it's a legitimate article when it's not. It's like if you've ever seen an infomercial where it kind of looks like it's a real newscast, but then you find out that it was an infomercial all along, you're going to kind of feel cheated. And honestly, someone who, like myself, an expert in nutrition, I felt really cheated and really concerned for a person who's not someone with a graduate degree in nutrition, especially since it does portray itself as an article. If you don't pay close attention to detail, you might have missed the branded post part, and you might not have noticed who the person is claimed to be the author. You look at the person who was supposed to have written this. It says by NorCal Marketing. NorCal Marketing would be a really weird name for a person to have, and obviously that's not an actual person, that's a marketing company, an advertising company. So at least the Dallas Morning News is kind of being upfront-ish that this is an advertisement and not an actual article by one of their staff writers. But everything else around it makes it look like it could be a real article, and someone might read this advertisement and take it as if it has been proven scientifically and safe products that they can take. When it comes to supplements, I always tell people to be very cautious about taking them and to do extensive research on their own about the brands just to check if it's safe. Because here's the thing, unlike pharmaceutical drugs, a supplement doesn't have to be tested by the FDA. There are really no requirements for supplement companies to have to go through the government. You could basically put them out on the market for people to buy. The only times you have supplements that get taken off the market is when enough people are getting hurt by the supplements. So if you recall, back in the late 90s, early 2000s, fen was one of the biggest ones that where people were taking this supplement because it had promised them that it would help them lose weight. Unfortunately, it caused a lot of people to suffer from cardiac arrest and other heart issues. A lot of people ended up dying, and that's when the FDA takes action and the government shuts down the operation. That's the only time. If only a few people are having some type of drug interactions or complications from the supplement, it's up to the individual to try to take legal action on their own. But that's really the only time when that can happen. That's the only thing that that individual can do. You can mount a class action lawsuit or do what's called mass torts, where it's kind of the same as a class action, where you have a group of clients trying to fight against a company that puts out a dangerous product like a supplement or a pharmaceutical drug. But it's not a guarantee, and it doesn't force that company to have to make any changes to their ingredients or to remove the products from the shelves. Also, there was once a study that tested a number of different supplements where ingredients that were not listed on the ingredients list. So just because you pick up a bottle and it includes an ingredients list, it's not 100% that that product is exactly what the bottle is saying. That said, there are a lot of companies that have their products independently researched and tested by testing companies that a lot of times they're actually more intense than the FDA's own testes. So those companies are the ones where you can be very confident in their safety. And now, I'm sorry, I did digress a bit there. I just wanted to remind you, pay attention to detail. Whenever you read some kind of article, it doesn't matter if it's on the Dallas Morning News, on the New York Times, the New York Post, Fox News, CNN, whatever one, they want to make money. And if it comes to the point where they're willing to have an advertisement portraying itself as a legitimate article just to get you to buy their products, they're totally at the liberty to do that. And that's what puts you at the onus to do your research and to pay close attention to detail. Luckily, the Dallas Morning News did indicate that this is a branded post and that this is an advertisement. Doesn't mean that they're always going to do this. Luckily, they do have some form of ethics, but another newspaper might not have the same level of ethics, and that's why you really need to have to be careful. Do your research, and if need be, you can always feel free to reach out to me, and I'll be able to help guide you. Alright, now a much happier one. I'm sorry, I know in the first one it was kind of a downer because it was kind of fear-inducing. This one, I promise, is going to be a lot better. This is by the Today Show, posted on their website. They did a story about a Gina Buck, a 63-year-old grandma that lost over 90 pounds. She actually dropped from 287 pounds down to currently at 195 pounds. She had a wake-up call, and she weighed herself and was determined to not allow herself to go up to 300 pounds. So that's where she took action. She started walking on her own, making sure that she was staying true to a healthier diet. She also joined the Today Show, has a Facebook page that encourages people to walk and also provides really helpful health and nutrition tips, which she took, and I'm really happy that she did. For her, diet-wise, she used what is called intermittent fasting. So, in short, what intermittent fasting, it can be changed. There's different variations. Originally, the first time I heard about it, it was where you had 8 hours where you would be able to eat, and for the remaining 16 hours of the day, you would have to be fasted. So you're not allowed to eat during those 16 hours. For this woman, she was allowing herself to eat for 11 hours, and for 13 hours, she was remaining fasted. I've also heard of people that would go 12 hours and 12 hours. Others have gone 6 hours where they could eat, and the remaining 18 hours where they weren't allowing themselves to eat to be remaining fasted. And that, as long as you're giving yourself enough time where you're not cutting down your calories too much, I think it could be a safe approach. But that doesn't guarantee that it's going to work 100% for every single person that adopts an intermittent fasting type of diet. And so some of the things that she noted since she started losing the weight was that she started being able to sleep a lot better and had a lot less back pain. There was once an article by, I believe it was the Cleveland Clinic, or I think it was published by WebMD, where they said for each pound of weight that you lose takes about 6 pounds per square inch of pressure on your joints. Also, she also said that she feels a lot more comfortable with wearing clothes, much more bathing suits. One of the unfortunate things about people that are overweight or obese is that they tend to feel very uncomfortable with their body, and they're afraid of being ridiculed or made fun of by other people. Unfortunately, a lot of this isn't just nonsense. It's actually stuff that has happened to them from time to time, whether it's some kids and unfortunately, really unfortunately, there are adults that act even worse than some of these kids that make fun of people for being overweight or obese. Like a lot of people that struggle to lose weight, Miss Buck is someone that has been struggling to lose weight for a long time. She indicated that since her 20s, she would be on the heavier side. She would start dieting and exercising, lose a couple pounds, but then it'd come right back. And she'd try again and come right back, try again, come right back. That's one of those cycles that a lot of people can feel really defeated when it happens. This doesn't always have to be the case, but in many cases for people that lose large amounts of weight or even just a couple pounds, the body wants to return to its previous state, so it does make adjustments. With rapid weight loss, the body is more likely to be able to regain that weight than if the weight loss was at a slower, steadier rate. So some of the things that I had a little bit of trouble with what she wrote was that she said that she consumes only 1,500 calories a day. I'm not particularly sure if the 1,500 calories is what she has been eating ever since she started her weight loss journey, or if that's just what she's eating right now. So here's the thing, there's the basal metabolic rate. That's pretty much the minimum amount of calories that the body needs for it to function properly. If you're consuming less than that, you're going to lose weight, but a lot of that weight includes muscle mass, and it can really lead to long-term negative effects in the future, because again, that's supposed to be the bare minimum, pretty much as if you were in a coma. That's the amount of calories that your organs would be using to keep you alive. But again, I'm not sure if that's what she's been eating the entire time. If she has been doing that since she was at the 287 pounds, that would be way too few calories for someone at her size at that time. Right now, at 195 pounds, I would have to do the numbers for her BMR, and it could be possible. I still think it would be a little bit on the low side, but I'm not entirely sure. However, on the positive side, that's a negative. The positive side is that she says that she doesn't keep any sweets or junk food at her house. And this is key. It doesn't mean that you're not allowed to have a cheat day if, say, for example, Cheetos are your thing. You just love Cheetos, but obviously if you want to lose weight, you can't have Cheetos all the time. So don't be grabbing the giant bag of Cheetos every time you go to the store, especially if it's multiple bags during the week. It's going to be really hard for you to lose weight. Even if you're like her at the 1,500 calories, sure, you might meet your caloric goal, but there's absolutely no nutrition value to Cheetos, so you really don't want to do that. Now, if you were to limit yourself to just one bag of Cheetos for the whole week, you'll be 100% fine and be able to lose weight and be successful in your weight loss journey. Having sweets and junk food around the house will make it a lot more difficult for you to try to resist. I mean, if you're coming home from work late and you're tired and you're hungry and you've got a jar filled with cookies, chances are you're going to be snacking on those cookies, and that's going to get you above your caloric goal. If you're maintaining the caloric deficit while eating the cookies, I mean, that could be fine, but remember, if you're in a caloric deficit, you want to maximize the nutritious value, so the nutrient density. You want to make sure that you're eating fewer calories, but you're getting just as many vitamins and minerals as you need without cutting yourself short on that. You still need those vitamins and minerals, and ideally try not to rely so much on multivitamins to get you there with those vitamins and minerals. I also really liked was that she drinks a lot of water. For her, it's 101 ounces. I know a lot of people like to walk around with their gallons of water to make sure that they're drinking a gallon of water. There's no magic behind drinking a lot of water for weight loss, but research does support that drinking more water can help a person lose more weight. Like I said, it's not something that's super magical about drinking more water that helps someone lose weight. It's really just that you drink more water, your stomach is already going to be pre-filled, and there's only going to be so much room in your stomach for food. So it's basically not allowing you to eat quite as much as you would as if you weren't drinking a whole lot of water. And finally, going back to her intermittent fasting, the intermittent fasting or ketogenic diet or Mediterranean diet, DASH diet, all those types of diets do work, and the research does support that all those types of diets can help a person lose weight. But it really depends on the individual. For some people, a certain type of diet like the intermittent fasting can help a lot of people lose a lot of weight, but at the same time, it can help a lot of people. It might result in a lot of people not losing a single pound and feeling like absolute crap. I've had clients on either side. One thinks intermittent fasting is a godsend. Another client, she said that she felt like crap all the time. She was always hungry and it just did not work, and she had to end it right away. If you want to try it, just be careful and plan ahead, making sure that you're eating a nutrient-dense diet that gives you all the vitamins and minerals that you need, and that also, don't forget about that protein. The protein is really important because that's what's going to help you maintain your lean muscle mass that you're going to want to keep, because a lot of people that lose large amounts of weight lose muscle mass along the way. That's also what's one of the reasons that contributes to large weight losses. And finally, a Forbes article entitled Weight Loss and AI, How This Startup is Accelerating Glucose Monitoring for All. So basically, this is an article about Signos, a company that offers a service where you're able to track your blood glucose levels throughout the day. And it includes an app that lets you know what your blood sugar level is looking like. So a lot of the foods that you eat are going to affect your glucose levels, your blood sugar levels. And the theory behind this company is that if you're eating stuff that's making your blood sugar levels rise and stay elevated for extended periods of times, that's why you struggle with weight loss. Is there truth to that? Yes, but there's a lot of caveats to this. So one of my biggest concerns about this is, one, the CEO, his name is Shahram Fulagdar Mercer. I'm just going to call him by his first name out of respect for not butchering his last name any further. So Shahram was a former athlete, and like a lot of former athletes, he continued eating like he did when he was training, but he obviously wasn't training, and that's what led him towards gaining a lot of weight. He was concerned about the fact that his family history has an extensive diabetic past, so he wanted to make sure that when he lost weight that he wasn't going to fall down the same path as some of his family members that are suffering from diabetes at the moment. Sharam, his bachelor's degree is in computer science. It's probably what he used for developing the app and the technology, which I believe it's like a Fitbit that tracks your glucose levels throughout the day. And he got his master's in business administration, his MBA at Harvard Business School. Nothing from that includes anything that's related to nutrition, kinesiology, exercise science. So that's where I'm kind of drawing a red flag from that. If he does have a business partner that does have a nutrition or medical background that whose expertise is in nutrition and weight loss and diabetes, then I would have less concern about this. But I'm not sure at this point, but I'm still a little iffy about this. So going into the thick of it, here's how they describe the Signos company. So they say Signos uses the latest Dexcom continuous glucose monitor, or GCM for short, which is the only FDA approved GCM that offers real-time alerts without fingerstick calibration and is exclusively available to non-diabetics through their company. And it also uses an app for accountability. This is what Signos says. Signos is aiming to tackle the obesity epidemic in the U.S. by offering a new way for people to act on their body's unique response to what and when they eat to lose weight and kickstart a healthier life. The company takes what is traditionally prescribed for diabetics and makes it possible for anyone to use continuous glucose monitor (GCM) alongside its AI-powered app to educate wearers which is best for their bodies. So, like I said, it's tracking your blood glucose levels throughout the day, and through the app, it's notifying you if what you ate it has kind of sparked a high glucose reading within your blood. And their theory is that that's what's going to help you make wiser decisions when you're eating. There is some truth to this. If glucose is always kept elevated at a long period of time, especially when a person is overweight or obese, they are more likely to develop diabetes, especially when a person becomes older. There have been a lot of cases, and there are a lot more cases these days than there were in the past, of younger people developing diabetes, unfortunately. And that's one of the reasons that concerned Sharon for making this product, so he can develop a proactive approach to help people avoid these types of problems. Tracking glucose may be one of the best preventative measures that one can employ to gain visibility into how one's daily habits affect the body. It is a game changer in the practice that this practice enables people to take charge of their health. Instead of viewing glucose tracking as a reactive approach to ailments, people can be a viable way to be proactive and prevent avoidable diseases. You can see in real time the effects of food and sleep, exercise on your glucose, and make data-driven choices on how to make changes to live in a healthier way. So with a lot of my clients, I usually have them track their food, their intake, using Fat Secret, which allows me to take a peek into what it is that they're eating, and it also gives me the macronutrients and some of the micronutrients that they have been consuming. I'm really only concerned with what it is that they're eating. I always tell them that they need to be sure that they're 100% honest with what they're saying. If they want to measure how many calories that they're consuming, the only way to get a more accurate reading of how many calories they're consuming is by weighing the foods, and to make sure that they're logging everything in correctly. So, for example, if they're saying that they eat steak and they say that it was a 6-ounce piece of steak, but about 2.5 ounces was bone, while the rest was actual meat, they might be thinking that they're consuming more protein than they actually were, and will start eating something more with more protein, and that could take them out of the caloric deficit that they are trying to maintain to lose weight. That's just one example of how that can lead to potential mistakes. But with this, since you already have the monitor and it's telling you what it is that you're eating that has got the blood glucose levels shooting up, this could help a person make wiser decisions in the long run. So something with a lot of sugar has a high glycemic index than something that doesn't have sugar. So for example, unsweetened tea versus soda, the soda is going to get the blood glucose levels skyrocketing, whereas the unsweetened tea is pretty much going to be the same. There might be a little bit of right just because there's always going to be some sugars in there and possibly some effect from the caffeine levels inside the teas, but that's going to be almost negligible that you can basically ignore. The rise from the soda, that you can't really ignore, but if you're really only having one soda, you're probably going to be fine. But if you're drinking 3, 4, 5, 6 sodas, that's going to be a problem, and that's going to keep your glucose levels at a high level. And again, if it's sustained for an extended period of time, this could lead to diabetes in the future. This takes years for it to happen, so don't be thinking if you went a week where you were drinking a lot of soda that's the end of the world, or even a month. That's probably still not going to be leading to diabetes, but it's still not a great thing to do. Now, do I think this could help people lose weight? More importantly, they're advertising this as a proactive way to help bring down obesity and overweight people to being at a healthier weight. Can this be a proactive approach to reducing that, to possibly even eliminating that? I say no, because here's the thing. This product isn't out on the shelves just yet. It might be in a year or a couple years for this to come out, but I can already tell that it's going to be really expensive, and obesity levels in poorer communities are a lot higher than they are in wealthier communities. So the people that need it the most would be the ones that would actually be priced out of a product like this. If they find a way to have, for example, insurance companies or Medicaid paying for it, that would be awesome, and I do think that could cause a dent. But is it going to be completely eliminating obesity? No. The best way, in my opinion, is for people to learn to make more educated choices on their own. A watch that tells you that what you ate is high on the glycemic list, it could get annoying over time, and people might end up giving up on it. So it could be a little naggy in a sense. And that's why I don't know if it could be 100% effective. I do think that it can be helpful for some, but there's never an answer for all. So this is interesting. I hope that it does become successful, and I do hope that this company does find ways to cut down costs for a wider population, especially the lower income populations, to be able to get some of these services so that it can help them lose weight as well, instead of just people that are wealthy.